So personalised experiences are becoming super important today. People really value and pay more for something that is personalised. And with the shortening attention span of users, we're tending to see that people are limiting their network access to fewer yet larger dominant platforms such as Amazon, Apple, Facebook and Netflix. And this dynamic of pull content from the early 2000s has totally gone, and it's shifting towards a push dynamic. So it's a web dominated by social media. So we're all inundated by content, and so we're starting to prefer to receive recommendations by curation or algorithmic suggestion for content. And we can see that on our Netflix or Amazon or Facebook pages. We're starting to see that they're personalised for us, which is kind of scary as well, because it kind of limits this idea of filter bubbles. And we've seen this with the election. There's been a lot of press around what's pushed to you, and the fact that we live in these very small circles of our friends and what they think, and the kind of content that's being pushed to us. So it's just something really important to look out for. And you, of course, can see it in the advertising industry. Sorry, you can't see the slide. It's kind of boring. But it's about, I don't know if you've heard of programmatic advertising. It's the real-time bidding, buying and selling of ads, which happens in a split second. So all this transaction that usually in the past would have taken months of planning is happening in real time. And we're going to start seeing probably these kind of models of, on your Facebook pages, you're starting to see ads that are very, very, very specific to your to things that you purchase or things that you like or things that you've talked about. This kind of concept will probably be brought into sort of media curation and development. And it would be interesting to see how that sort of changes what kind of stuff's delivered to us or what kind of things we choose to buy in the future. But I'm going to go a step further and talk about actual personalised storytelling. So this is the idea of designing stories. So every time we see them, they're different. So this is called procedural storytelling. So it depends on the data that we contribute and it will change the content that we get back. So this was an early example in 2010 of a procedural story or a personalised story. It's Chris Milk's Wilderness Downtown, which was a video that was, well, it's not a video actually. It's actually designed in HTML5, and it was for the launch of Chrome to show sort of Chrome's capabilities. But basically it's using Arcade Fire's We Used to Wait track, and it's personalised to everyone who sees it, because you put your postcode of where you were brought up in. Has anyone seen this? So, and a more recent project that is personalised is a web documentary called Do Not Track, which was a French-Canadian-German co-production by a director called Brett Gaylor and produced by French company Upion. So it's a documentary about privacy, the web economy, and how information about you is collected and used. So after each episode, you are asked to share data, and the more data you share, the more personalised your episode is. And it's kind of frightening because it tracks news sites and other sites that you go to show how much they're using data around you. And some of the more sort of like progressive media outlets were actually some of the worst. I was kind of quite surprised. Like people like The Guardian had a huge amount, they would use, your data was being used more than some of the other sites that they were showing, which were more sort of right-wing press. So it's quite kind of shocking. So these projects are now constructed in code. They look like video, but they're code. And so the kind of teams that are making them are completely composed of different people. So technologists, UX designers, as well as storytellers. So it's just this idea that we're going to have to bring in new people to construct our stories. And I wanted to finish with a quote that I really like from Paola Zuccotti, who's a media ethnographer. So Paola looks at how media and technology and products come into your daily life. And it's this idea of looking at how people engage or touch into to your ideas or the way you're going to tell them is such an important thing to start looking at in terms of the stories that you design. So around personalisation, I love this quote. It says, "Since we no longer buy, lend or borrow content, we tend to want to embed ourselves or personalise the content we consume as an expression of our identity. Owning content is being able to shape it." So designing interfaces to be able to do this and to be able to personalise and participate and prototype your projects is super important for moving forward in project development.